It's Friday, May 25th. Welcome to Pastor Bob Daily. Andrew from Facebook says, is there any specific guide on how Christians should react or what they should say when someone is resistant to the gospel and persecutes the believer in some manner? One technique I frequently employ is describing the spiritual indwelling inside my heart resulting from persecution, ridicule, or rejection for God's name, what it feels like. As it always confirms my faith more deeply, this tends to quash resistance. Are there any other particularly recommended approaches or responses for Christians placed in such an awkward situation? Thanks, Andrew. Well, first of all, I want to identify this word, persecution, because I don't think that most of us have any idea what persecution really means. If you're talking about someone who disagrees with you, somebody who maybe makes fun of you because of the gospel in some way, I don't really call that persecution. You know, persecution is where somebody's killing you for your faith, where somebody is so militant with their own faith that they think you should die or they think you should be hurt in some way. And, you know, there are so many martyrs that went before us that were truly persecuted. A good book, if you're interested, is Fox's Book of Martyrs. Very standard book on persecution in the church over the centuries. And when you read that, you realize that we really don't go through persecution. People have disagreements with us, but we're not, I hate to use that word because I think it almost dishonors those people that are truly persecuted. Now, throughout my life, I've had a lot of people that have been resistant to my faith. But you know, I don't find it very often, honestly. I think most people have respect. And the reason for that is that I'm really not militant with my faith. I'm not pushy with it. I realize that the most important thing that I can do is live my life in front of people, include them in my life, and allow them to ask me the questions about my faith that will hopefully at some point be theirs as well. Now, one of the mistakes that Christians make, and I want to get real personal with you for a minute, and Andrew, not just with you, but with all of you. You know, what are you doing and how are you sharing your faith? You know, there are some people that get real pushy with it. You know, they approach you and they talk down to you and they say, you know, have you accepted Jesus as your Savior? And I have those people that come up to me because I don't look like a Christian. Of course, they're always a little surprised to find that I'm actually a pastor. But I get that too. And can I tell you how much it bugs me when people do that? It really does. I don't enjoy it. And I'm a Christian. And I'm thinking, if I don't enjoy it, and if it kind of bugs me, then I'm sure that non-Christian people are really offended by it. Yeah, you say, Pastor Bob, but sometimes we just have to offend, you know, to present the gospel, and I just don't believe that. You know, the bottom line to the Bible is love. That's the bottom line. If people honestly feel your uncompromising, unconditional love for them, they'll respond. People always do. You know, I have these encounters all the time with people that I don't know that come up and talk to me and ask me, you know, after a few minutes, would you pray with me? And I don't usually force any of that. People ask me those questions, not because they know who I am, but because I live my life in front of them. And it's part of my personality. It's part of who I am. And folks, that's the place we all need to get to. Well, I've given you 1 Peter 3:15 many times. Be ready at any time to give a quiet and reverent answer to anyone who asks you about the hope you have within you. Asks you. You give an answer when they ask you. Why is that important? Because, folks, it means that you've been living your life in front of them. They see that your Christian faith has made a difference for you. There's something different about you, and they begin to ask you the questions. It makes sense, doesn't it? It also makes sense to me that, I hate to say this, but that a lot of people aren't asking the questions. Because there's a lot of Christians that aren't very nice. They're very pushy. They're very condescending. They're very superior acting. You know who I'm talking about. There are a lot of them around. And I have a hard time defending them because I don't really like that technique either. I don't like that personality either. And I think if it rubs me the wrong way, it certainly rubs a lot of other people the wrong way as well. So, persecution, how do you handle it? You know, I just think that if you're being persecuted and you're feeling like it, then you ought to ask yourself some of these questions. And you know, unconditional love for people around you is really important. And if you use that as the standard, if you say, no matter what, I'm going to love people unconditionally, I'm going to live my life in front of them, and I'm going to be a little less preachy, you'll find that some amazing things begin to happen. We're going to talk about this some more in the weeks and months to come, because I think this is an important issue for all of us. And Andrew, I hope that helps a little bit too. God bless you. Have a great day.